Chapter 20. When the gods knew it was over, every civilization's apocalypse. 1. The Hesiodic Ages, the slow decay of the spirit, Hellenic entropy. In the works of Hesiod and the later poets like Ovid, the end of the world is not a sudden explosion, but a long, agonizing decline into moral rot. This is the doctrine of the 5 ages of man. We began in the Golden Age, where men lived like gods and the earth gave freely of its fruits. But through the Silver, Bronze, and Heroic Ages, the purity of the soul evaporated. We currently live in the Iron Age, a time of unceasing labor and misery. The signs of the ultimate end are social, the breakdown of the family, the triumph of the liar over the honest man, and the disappearance of Eidos, shame, and nemesis, retribution, from the earth. Hesiod warns that once a child is born with gray hair and a son strikes his father without remorse, Zeus will finally wipe the slate clean, destroying this corrupt race to perhaps begin anew. For the Greeks, the end is the inevitable result of a world that has forgotten the weight of its own conscience. 2. Fimbulvetr and the breaking of bonds, Norse apocalypse. In the Prose Edda, the end is signaled by the death of the climate and the death of the heart. The Fimbulvetr, the great winter, will arrive, consisting of 3 consecutive winters with no summers in between. The snow will drive from all directions, and the sun will provide no warmth. But more terrifying than the frost is the Wolf Age, where the social fabric of Midgard dissolves. Brothers will fight and fell each other, the poets scream. Sisters' sons will shatter kinship's bond. The signs of Ragnarok are the snapping of all chains, physical and moral. The wolf Fenrir will break his fetters, and the world serpent will rise from the deep. The sign is the sound of the Gyllerhorn blown by Heimdall, a blast that echoes through all 9 worlds, announcing that the time for preparation has ended and the time for the final defiant stand of the gods has begun. 3. The Kali Yuga, the darkness of the Iron Age Vedic cycles. In the Mahabharata, time is a wheel, chakra, that moves through 4 yugas. The final age is the Kali Yuga, the age of darkness, in which we currently reside. The signs are precise. Rulers will become thieves. Spirituality will be reduced to mere ritual, and the short will be honored over the tall. Truth will vanish, and the lifespan of man will dwindle as the world becomes heavy with the adharma of greed and ego. The end comes when the world is so saturated with darkness that it requires a divine reset. This is the arrival of Kalki, the final avatar of Vishnu, who will appear on a white horse with a blazing sword to cut away the rot. His arrival is the herald of the pralaya, the great dissolution, where the universe is consumed by fire and water, returning to a state of cosmic sleep before the next golden age, Satya Yuga, begins its slow, radiant descent. 4. The night of the great serpent, Egyptian void. According to the deep esoteric traditions and Wallace Budge's research, the Egyptian end is the return of the universe to the state of none, the primordial, undifferentiated waters. While the sun god Ra defeats the serpent Apep every night, the Egyptians believed that one day the gods would grow weary. The signs of this end are the fading of the light and the slow encroachment of chaos upon the banks of the Nile. Osiris and Ra will eventually merge and return to the silence of the abyss. This is not a judgment so much as a reabsorption. The universe is a bubble of order floating in an infinite ocean of chaos. The end is simply the bubble bursting, returning the elements to the dark, silent unity from which they were first summoned by the word of the Creator. 5. The end of the world tent, Turkic apocalypse. In Turkish mythology, as documented by Bahattin Ojal, the apocalypse is the collapse of the world tent. The pole that holds up the sky, the North Star, will eventually break, and the eternal blue sky will fall upon the Earth Mother. The signs of this catastrophe are the drying up of the sacred springs and the death of the Bay Terek, the world tree. As the world descends into chaos, Erlich Khan will release his demons from the underworld for a final assault on the living. However, even in this end, the Turkic soul finds hope. It is believed that a final hero, a Kutlu, blessed one, will lead the people to a hidden valley, a new Ergenekon, where they will wait out the destruction of the old world. The end is a cleansing fire that burns away the weakness, leaving only the pure spirit of the steppe to rebuild under a new, unblemished sky. Epilogue. The story that never ends. A final reflection on all of human mythology. The architecture of myth and the final synthesis. The journey through these 5 parts has been more than a mere academic survey. It has been an excavation of the human soul. From the thunder-cracked peaks of Olympus to the silent, shifting sands of the Duat, we have traced the blueprints of how humanity perceives the invisible. As we stand at the threshold of the final exit, Let us look back one last time at the grand synthesis of these divine dramas. The symmetry of sovereignty. We began with sovereignty. Discovering that power in mythology is never a gift without a price. Whether it is Zeus establishing the law of Dike to end the era of monsters, or Odin trading his eye for a drop of cosmic wisdom, the message is clear. To rule is to serve the order. The Vajra of Indra and the Tor of Oga's Han remind us that the king is the lightning rod of the cosmos. He must channel the volatile energy of the heavens into the structured safety of the earth. Sovereignty is the act of turning the void into a home. 2. The crucible of the hero. The heroes we encountered, Perseus, Sigurd, Rama, and Horus, are the bridges between the finite and the infinite. Their quests for immortality or the restoration of justice are the metaphors for our own struggle against entropy. We learned that the monster, be it the petrifying Medusa or the chaotic Set, is not an external enemy, but the stagnation we must overcome. The hero's journey is the process of alchemical transformation, where the base lead of mortal fear is forged into the gold of eternal legend. 3. The feminine and the cycle. The divine feminine appeared as the essential counterweight to the thunder of the kings. Isis, Athena, and Umayana represent the subterranean and celestial wisdom that binds the universe together. They are the weavers of fate and the breath of life. Through the solar and lunar cycles, we saw that time is not a straight line leading to a dead end, but a pulsing rhythmic dance. The moon's waning and the sun's nightly battle in the underworld are the assurances that every end is merely a gestation period for a new beginning. 4. The final weighing. In the final sections we faced the underworld and the judgment. The scales of Ma'at, the laws of Yama, the choices of the Valkyries. All converge on a singular truth: the soul is defined by its weight. Mythology tells us that we are what we do. Our actions are the only currency accepted at the gates of eternity. Whether we find ourselves in the field of reeds, the halls of Valhalla, or the layers of the sky, we arrive as the sum of our intentions. The resonance of the end. Finally, the apocalyptic visions, from the fires of Ragnarok to the dark age of the Kali Yuga, serve not as threats, but as profound psychological closures. They remind us that all forms must eventually dissolve so that the essence can be liberated. The breaking of the world tent is not the end of the spirit, but the beginning of a higher consciousness. The final word. Mythology is the oldest language of the heart. It is the way we speak about things that are too large for literal words. Though we live in an age of silicon and satellites, we still shiver when the thunder rolls. And we still hope for a guide when we walk into the dark. The gods are the metaphors for our highest aspirations and our deepest fears. By studying them, we have been studying ourselves. The book closes, but the echo remains. The golden thread of the mythic tradition is now in your hands. The stars fade, the suns die, and the thrones of the gods may crumble into dust. But the story, the great story of the soul's ascent, is the only thing that is truly immortal.